What is Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black with y'all three long face, skinny body, and we are back anime daily with another episode. Essentially, 2026 has been major announcement after major announcement, whether it be a returning season, a returning series slash IP, or a brand new series at the start of the season. The start of 2026 has marked, honestly, for me, just the beginning of possibly the greatest anime slash media entertainment year we have seen thus far, right? And I say that because we open up the year with a heavy swing, like a crazy right hook, with all of these major top hitter animes. And it's not like it's gonna be a die down period, because following in each and every season coming up, we have major, highly anticipated animes, IPs, and new stories to be brought to fruition in this anime season. So just the start of this year for what might possibly be the greatest anime year of all time, for the endless amount of shows. Now we're going to talk about the development of a majority of the shows that have been airing this season. I'm not just going to say the most popular, which most of them would probably be considered, but the ones that I have been keeping up to date with this season. And for a long time, within the last few years, this has probably been the season that I have continuously watched the most anime at the same time. Just to give you guys a grand idea, the shit that I have been checking out this season: from Fearin', Beyond Journey and Oshinoko, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, Fate/Strange Fate, Sentenced to be a Hero, Fire Force, Roll Over and Die, Jujutsu Kaisen, Hell's Paradise, and many more that have been buzzing around the timeline, that have been getting notoriety and notifications. But just for the sake of this video, focusing on some of the major animes that have been airing this season, and a lot of the plot points that are gearing up, because most of these are either entering into the story's best possible arc, or the arc that completely raises the stakes and changes the entire trajectory of the story. Now, without a doubt, the three anime that have completely had me glued to my seat all season long, since the start of this season, since the start of the year, with undoubted confidence and conviction, I can say, of course, well known how this is my favorite anime, ongoing airing anime outside of the likes of One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. The Culling Games, the introduction of all of these amazing characters has absolutely been taking me by a storm. Hell's Paradise Season 2, despite its controversial takes regarding the anime, I was a highly appreciative and loving fan of Season 1, but even with saying that with all of my heart, Season 2's improvement and just quality jump is completely crazy and insane. The production is very much noticeably improved, which is highly insane to me, because I had no complaints from Season 1 of Hell's Paradise. And last but not least, certainly not least, Sentenced to be a motherfucking hero. If you thought being a hero was always so sweet and nandy, in a world of Sentenced to be a Hero, where this is considered the most egregious and vile punishment a human could obtain, worse than death. A lot of these death row, or quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, expected to be death row inmates, either believe they are going to get life in prison or sentenced to death. But hearing those terms, sentenced to be a hero, is a terminology worse than the worst. They're treated essentially as lower than human beings. But before we even get to all three of those gems, right, just glossing over a lot of the things that have caught my eye, this season, as I stated, has provided probably the most anime that I have added at once onto my watch list. So from shows like My Hero Academia, Vigilantes. Now, the final season of My Hero was an absolute banger, peak 10 out of 10. Now, Vigilantes has a different spin on the series, on the world of My Hero Academia. It's a different approach, yet very refreshing and familiar in the same taste, right? Now, Season 1 gave us that major plot reveal with the character Knuckle Duster, and Season 2 has opened up with some questions, but also some answers regarding Knuckle Duster, his whereabouts, and his overall connection in relation to this guy, Koichi, and his path to becoming what I believe might be possibly the greatest vigilante in My Hero. Who knows, whatever his story has in store for him. But the intricacies of this story is very amazing. We have so many loving characters that we were introduced to in the original series, like, you know what I'm saying, All Might, obviously, who's been prevalent in a few episodes. Of course, this guy Eraserhead, who's been getting a lot more screen time, especially in the second season, and many other characters. It's a very good and fun anime. It's not anything too crazy, so I can't really gas it up, but definitely has been something I've been keeping up with for this season. And then moving on, which is actually surprising to me, Fate Strange / Fate. Now this anime, right, for the viewers and the fans of the Fate universe, I have only been privy and accustomed to one iteration of this entire IP, and that is Fate Unlimited Blade Works. Now I haven't seen Fate Zero, which is possibly undoubtedly the most popular and well-known version of the story. I don't even know, maybe it's the most original. I think this actually even started out as a game. Either way, long story short, Unlimited Blade Works was amazing, and because of that amazing run I had and amazing fun I had watching that anime at the time that I did watch it, I tried a number of Fate series for a number amount of times, and a number amount of times I have dropped a number amount of Fate series. They never, each and every one of them never had that thing that Unlimited Blade Works had that kept me on the screen and kept me coming back after each episode ended. And unfortunately, I never got back into Fate. But with Strange / Fate, something compelled me just to check out the first episode. Now, apparently these episodes for the earlier part of the seasons came out in a very periodic and unorthodox manner. Like episode 0 dropped a couple years ago, and then the first episode dropped, I think, a year or maybe even months after that, before finally getting consistent releases in 2026. Now, when I tell you guys, this story is absolutely amazing and compelling. Not just like, okay, let's just get the obvious out the way. It's beautiful. The art, the animation, the production, the quality. Everybody knows Fate is one of those stories. You see a tweet or a clip about it, it might make you want to watch it, but it's a whole different thing checking out a whole episode. But for this series specifically, and particularly, the story is so fresh, it's easy to follow, and it gives new readers and what I would imagine actual fans of the Fate series something to stick around to and actually love about the story. The famous Holy Grail War that we know to take place in all of the Fate stories have been taking place in this world, but the plot twist revolving around this particular war is that it is considered fake. So we go through the story finding out how you typically would start out a Fate series, introducing the heroes, introducing the masters, and then everything is turned on its head once we realize there's gonna be a whole new rollout of heroes pulling up in this war who are actually considered the real heroes. Yet we spent so much time connecting with the fake heroes, and then there's different sides, there's alliances, there's betrayals, and ultimately straight Sakuga, straight gas, and straight fire animation. I absolutely have been loving Fate Strange, and that was definitely one that caught me by surprise. Now, other animes like Fire Force I have been loving, and I know for a fact people are completely distraught for the amount of episodes we've been getting for the final season. I'm not a manga reader, but I can say I have been enjoying Fire Force for its entirety of its run, and this guy Benimaru is truly the embodiment and the real definition of the strongest. Now, the highlight for me for this season so far was definitely Benimaru's fight with his master, with his quote-unquote previous leader, I guess, of Company 7. Understanding Benimaru is viewed as the absolute strongest and most complete fire soldier in the world of Fire Force, and he absolutely proved it in his fight against his former master, and the emotional connection throughout especially that episode was there. But the development of all of these characters, right, not just Benimaru, but figures like this guy Shinra and then his younger brother Sho. The story connected around them and how it connects to Shinra and his path to ultimately always be the hero of this world is absolutely insane. The reveals are absolutely satisfying, and I'm looking forward to see how the end of this season will ultimately capitalize whenever they connect everything and it all comes full circle. The great cataclysm, however you say it, that shit has not been underwhelming for me, and I absolutely have been loving Fire Force. Now, one of the sleepers for me this season would be Golden Kamuy. Golden Kamuy is such an amazing Bandai, which is fairly new on the list, and I don't even watch too many new animes, but Rollover and Die is just definitely there to get an honorable mention. It's a very intriguing story for the most part, not necessarily one of those heavy bangers, but a good time to pass by anime, and very compelling, at least in whatever it's trying to accomplish with its story. So Rollover and Die is one of those. And last but not least, before we get to our big three, Oshi no Ko. Now, Oshi no Ko, listen guys, Black Uchiha loves the shonen, he loves the action, he loves the power-ups. But one thing I will appreciate is a good-ass motherfucking story with some drama and conflict. And that's what Oshi no Ko is. That's all I have to say. It's a good-ass motherfucking story with some definite drama and some definite conflict. Look behind the scenes of the media entertainment industry in the world of Japan, the pop idol culture industry, right? The K-pop culture, the acting culture, and see the grievances and the different paths that these stars have to actually navigate through in coming up in this industry and trying to potentially either thrive or find their way out of the industry. Of course, with some little dramatic irony tossed in here and there, and a little bit of a murder mystery, right? You know what I'm saying? All of these elements thrown in together, splashing in a whole lot of romantic tension, and that's what you have with Oshi no Ko. A beautiful, dramatic story, regardless of whatever I'm on YouTube, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a content creator, so I know things, right, that are said about certain shows, especially shows that I watch. So if I watch a show, I'm already gonna see what the manga counterpart fan base is gonna say about a show. So regardless of what the popular belief about the ending is, I'm gonna stick around to the end, because motherfuckers had me believing I was not gonna like Attack on Titan's ending, and when the anime finally finished it, I was like, this is what they were complaining about. And same thing with My Hero Academia. I loved both endings, so I'm gonna wait for Oshi no Ko. Season 3 has been straight gas, and the tension and dramatic irony is only getting higher, and it's only raising the stakes even more. This guy Aqua has been through some things. It's definitely getting a little complicated, and especially with his current predicament that he's been placed in within Season 3. All of the characters have something that you want to root them for and root them against, and it's very intriguing to see how the story will ultimately play out, right? But now for me, getting into our top 3 of the season, it's without a doubt. I already touched on a little bit of these in the start of the video, but Sentenced to be the Hero, right? Just starting off with the second fresh anime that I started. I think only 3 animes I started for the first time this season: Rollover and Die, Fate, Strange Fake, and Sentenced to be a Hero. Everything else is just me picking up a new season, but Sentenced to be a Hero is completely compelling. That first episode did something that I think a majority of the fan base can say that it done the same for them. It threw us in the middle of this world, in the middle of the conflict, and said, don't ask any questions. We know you're gonna have a lot. Just enjoy this fucking cinema right here, right? And as the episodes continue, we get to understand more and more, okay, what is this guy Silo fighting for? Who is the main antagonist in his story? And what is the whole reason of his journey? And what's the point in his relation and connection with this goddess, Terrorita? I'm sorry if I definitely mispronounced her name, but that's how we're gonna roll with it, right? So this guy Silo is essentially a condemned hero. And we already talked about earlier in the video, in this world, you don't want to be a hero. You would rather be either dead, life in prison, or even a slave before you get considered a hero. The treatment by others within this world is very prevalent to how people view these condemned heroes. They're less than humans, they're less than cattle, they're less than. like essentially the worst of the worst. And this guy Silo, he is fighting to prove not only his innocence, but to expose the dirty and corrupt leaders who ultimately set all of the dominoes in play for him to end up on the path that he's currently on. So as he struggles to maintain his connection with this new goddess and navigate his life as a condemned, but not only a condemned, but famous condemned hero for one of the most egregious crimes you can even have within this world, he has to team up with other heroes and also the active military and church forces within this world to not just fight the demon blights or possible demon lords, but those who are considered coexisters, who want to coexist with the demon blight, but ultimately the ones who might be pulling the puppeteer strings in the ultimate hero unit that is considered to be a punishment worse than death. So what is the secrets behind this, and why is this punishment even considered worse than death? Well, you're a hero, they send you out on the front lines to fight, and you cannot die. Because if you die, they're just going to bring you back to life and send you back out to fight again. Oh, and the kicker is, the more you die, the more memories you lose. So what is in store for this guy, Silo, right? But now we move on to Hell's Paradise Season 2. As I said, y'all, man, Hell's Paradise Season 2 production quality shot up. The story is amazing, and you get so deep into the story with all of these characters, from Gabimaru to all of the different ninja clans, the shogun leaders, the executioners, quote unquote, and all of these people who are stranded or come to this island known as Paradise Island, where they're coming to find this elixir of life. Now, as I stated, since season 1, this story had me. I was completely compelled and completely intrigued by everything going on within this story. But season 2 has jumped up everything from pacing, storytelling, quality, animation, art, and the dramatic tension within this story, as well as these characters are adapting and growing and getting closer and learning more about each other. We start to get more understanding of each of these characters' driven goals and each of these things that they're pursuing and why they ultimately want to even try to attain this elixir of life. All of these things are being blended into a wonderful story, and then it happens so well and flawlessly. You forget it's only been a few days they've been on this island, and I think it only is gonna span out for like ultimately a week. But a week having this much character development with this many characters is actually crazy, and the stakes are even crazy because these guys are boxing against these tension or whatever we call them within the story, and these tension are just cracked and OP. Like your typical OP villain, they can regenerate. What you do probably won't hurt them, but you gotta master this new power in order to hurt them. Yet this guy Gabimaru is showing you what a true prodigy does and can do through and through. So ultimately, Hell's Paradise Season 2 is something I'm excited for, and look forward to another extensive video regarding this season once we finish off the last half of Season 2 and see how things ultimately end up. I'm not sure if we might get a Season 3. I'm not a manga person, or are they going to finish everything within Season 2? Or are we going to get a very intense and hectic Season 3? But either way, I'm looking forward to it. And now y'all know, the cream of the crop, the butter on top of the bread, the icing on the cake, Jujutsu fucking Kaisen Culling Games. Oh my goodness. So let me just get this out the way. Episode 48 and 49 dropped in December. I watched it, right, when it dropped originally last year. And then the anime came out this year. I watched it again. And then the dub releases started to drop, and then I watched it again. That's how many times I've been rewatching the first few episodes of JJK, because that's how amazing this is. And by the time I got to Maki's episode, I was in complete tears. It was almost like the same thing that happened in season 2 when I saw Gojo versus Toji. I was in tears because I'm like, this might possibly be the greatest piece of entertainment that has blessed my TV screens in the amount of years that I have been alive in this life. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is absolutely peaking in its most peakish ways of all peak. And I don't know what type of lingo or language I just used, but that's how I truly feel about Season 3. The Culling Games are raising the stakes to heights that I never even imagined it could be raised to, as compared to what happened during the Shibuya incidents. And I will say this, Jujutsu Kaisen is probably the only anime in the world of animes where all anime onlys know how the manga ultimately ends, yet we pretend we do not. And I will say this for the comic section. I am anime only, but I know a lot of the spoilers that go down, but that cannot take away from these moments, and it won't take away from these moments from me. So I'm excited to see how ultimately these culling games even play out further down the line. I'm ready for some more Yuta action, because Yuta my boy. I'm not gonna lie, but like, look, you already know how I'm feeling, man. Free Gojo until it's backwards. Once my nigga Gojo's out, it's time to start getting gritty with it. But the Jujutsu Kaisen color games is absolutely amazing. I'm loving everything about it, and it's just probably partially because I've been reading Medulo, and I know I said I didn't read JJK. It's like I knew the spoilers for Medulo was gonna go crazy when they announced that first chapter, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just go ahead and read it. And yes, certain things were spoiled as I was reading the story, because I'm like, wait, why the fuck is Nobara right there? But hey, it is what it is, gang. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's probably my connection to Medulo as well that has me even more excited for season 3 of JJK. But like, I'm really excited to see how the fuck did this nigga Yuji get this strong, because Medulo Yuji is actually insane. But right now we still got, you know what I'm saying, Culling Games Part 1 post Shibuya incident Yuji. He's not doing all of the crazy things I've seen him do in Medulo, but for the most part, JJK is leading the season by leaps and bounds. Top 3 for sure, JJK, Hell's Paradise, and Sentenced to Be a Hero. But top 1 and still 1 and forever will be 1 is JJK season 3 Culling Games. This is actually pure gas, right? And I want to see like really what's going down with this guy Kenjaku and all of these random sorcerers popping up like Hikari and Kirara, all of that stuff. That's cool, but like I'm talking about all these new sorcerers, like niggas like that Angel character they was talking about. They said they might need Angel to get Gojo out the back door or some shit. I'm like, okay, who's Angel? And then there's this one dude, I guess he was like a samurai. He was looking for Sukuna. I guess he had smoke with Sukuna 400 years ago. So I'm like, okay, we about to get some real JJK history in the color game. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm keeping my eye out, because even after we get through all of these bangers that I just went through with you guys from 2026, springtime has some heat coming for us. Like, don't think it's about to be sweet. We got That Time I Got Reincarnated as the slime creeping in around the corner, Mushoku Tensei creeping in. We definitely got some Classroom of the Elite season 4 creeping in around the corner, like some bangers. So when I tell you 2026 might be the year for anime, trust me, it might be the year. It's your boy Black Uchiha 3 Long Face Skinny Body. Anime Daily Episode 6, 2026 anime taking the community by a storm. Let me know y'all favorite animes that y'all been watching this season and what y'all are keeping up with. Holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Back y'all out. Yes, sir. Ski.